It all began on Jane Goodall's front porch in Tanzania, when a group of students told her that they felt powerless, thinking about the problems around them. She encouraged them to use their voices and ideas to address the issues they saw head-on. Roots and Shoots was born. Now, Roots and Shoots is a worldwide movement of thousands of passionate young people making big impact, and it's growing. Whether it's natural disasters, homelessness, pollution, or even climate change, Roots and Shoots youth are taking on challenges and creating real positive change across the globe. Youth aren't just our future, they are our present, and they're changing the world today.
Welcome, everyone. Hello, welcome, everyone. My name is Erica Helms, Global Manager at the Jane Goodall Institute Global. And today, we're so thrilled to begin our celebrations for the 10th anniversary of Jane Goodall's Roots and Shoots program. Even more, we're so excited to be celebrating with our founder, Dr. Jane Goodall, and participants from the past and present who are making change happen. Anniversary marks the moment when, decades ago, Dr. Goodall and a group of young Tanzanians started what has become a program that reaches countries around the world and has brought thousands of young people together in a move helping people, animals, and the environment, as well as recognizing the impact that each of us can make every day. During our event today, we'll share stories and memories from throughout the last 3 decades. You'll have a chance to hear from some of our members' work. So I'd like to get started by welcoming Dr. Jane. Hello, Dr. Jane.
Well,
we're
hello,
so thrilled
Erica.
to have you with us. Would you like to get us started with some opening remarks?
Do you want to do that bit again, because we talked over each other?
I was welcoming you and saying hello, and would you like to get us started?
But by the way, does everybody realize that half the time Erica was frozen? You could hear her voice, but she wasn't speaking. It was very peculiar. Can we put that right, do you think?
That happens. I think it's all right. I think it's with technology, various connections.
Okay, so we just carry on in spite of it.
I think so.
Okay. Do you want to do that little bit again? Because I talked over it because I thought you'd finished.
So during our event today, Dr. Jane will share stories and memories of the last 3 decades, and you'll have a chance to hear from some of the members in our network. I'd like to get by welcoming Dr. Jane. We'd like to get us started with some opening remarks, please. Hello.
Well, hello, and thank you, Erica, and hello to everybody out there listening. Can you imagine how exciting this day is for me? I mean, all that time ago, starting with that little group on my veranda in Dar es Salaam, and there were just 2 young people from Pakistan and 10 Tanzanians. So it really was extremely exciting. And from that tiny group of 12, we have, as you heard, spread all over the world. And not only that, but we have members in preschool, kindergarten, very strong in university, and everything in between. We even have some adult groups in a few prisons in for old people in some countries. And so it's a grassroots movement. It became global when the United Nations was putting on an event in New York, and they told me they wanted me to come and I could bring some children. So I took a little group, 5 from Tanzania, a few from England, from Congo, and from the US. That's how the international part got started. And now 65 plus countries, it's growing all the time. And the scope of what the young people are doing in their programs to help people and animals and environment is truly magic. And I'm so proud of them all.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Jane. We're going to Shoots continues to spread your message of hope all over the world. How has Roots and Shoots exceeded your?
I'm sorry, you're cutting in and out. I can't hear you.
Oh dear. Okay,
You're all broken.
I'll try that again. Well, thanks for those. We're going to take some time now to explore a bit more. Roots and Shoots continues to spread your message of hope to young people across. Can you share with us, Dr. Jane, how has Roots and Shoots exceeded your expectations?
Well, you have to know that I always say, if you aim for the stars, you might reach the moon. If you only aimed for the moon, you might just reach the top of Everest. So I have to say that right from the beginning, my goal was a program that would spread around the world. After I'd seen how it worked in Tanzania, that was the key. And I think one reason that it spread so fast is that the young people are able to choose the projects to work on that they care about. So it's not top down. You don't have to do this. You have to do things within the 3 parameters: helping people, helping animals, helping the environment. But within that, you can work on what you're passionate about.
Yes, indeed. I've seen you. It's just amazing. So now I think we're going to see a video in which we hear from participants about what Roots and Shoots means to them.
Hi, my name is Hannah. I'm a sophomore and this is my 2nd year with Roots and Shoots. Roots and Shoots is a place for me to thrive and grow, to be a better version of myself. Being around so many amazing people reminds me that we are all so special, and each bring our own uniqueness to the world. Everything about Roots and Shoots is inspiring, from its message to its community, and it reflects off of everyone who's a part of this amazing organization. Before I joined Roots and Shoots, I used to be very self-critical, to the point where all I saw was my flaws. While I thought it was beneficial to my well-being, it was actually tearing my self-confidence down bit by bit. Roots and Shoots allowed me to see that I don't have to be perfect, and actually, my imperfections were what made me unique. The welcoming environment gave me an outlet to feel safe and heard, and it's something I truly love about Roots and Shoots. Roots and Shoots gives me hope because of the amount of determined and kind individuals there are in the world. It empowers me knowing that I'm a part of a community of people who care so deeply about the well-being of the planet. It encourages me when I'm completing a project, knowing that there's a community that has my back. For me, being a part of Roots and Shoots is like having a second family. Whether it's my Roots and Shoots club members or my NYLC friends, I'm constantly surrounded by a creative and inspiring community that I can turn to for ideas and feedback, or lean on for support during rough times.
Jane Goodall has inspired me so much with the way she took care of those wild chimpanzees. I followed her example. I decided to take care of the animal that I mostly find in my neighborhood. Everything changed the day I welcomed these sweet little kitties into my home. My furry friends are truly special and will always have a very special place in my heart. Thank you, Jane Goodall, for inspiring us all. Happy 30th anniversary, Roots and Shoots.
Happy 30th birthday, Roots and Shoots. I've been living the Roots and Shoots mission by building local bike trails for kids like myself and cleaning up my forest.
We heard from Hannah, Tabitha. I think there was a no. Supposed to view from Theo. Perhaps we'll move on.
I am sorry, but I couldn't hear you. You broke up.
Jane, Dr. Jane.
I mean, did you
some wonderful words, Anna, Tabitha, and it was great. And move on to our next question, Dr. Jane. Back to the beginning of Roots and Shoots. Can you describe to us what it was like creating that first Roots and Shoots group in Tanzania? And what were some of the difficulties faced? And how did you see the group rise to the occasion?
Well, it really began when these 12 high school students came from 8 different high schools. I'd been going around giving lectures, and they said, well, it's really made us think. And, you know, some of them were worried about the destruction of the coral reef because of illegal dynamite fishing. Some were worried, why wasn't the government doing more to prosecute poachers in the national parks? Some were worried about the street children with no homes. Some were worried about the bad treatment of stray dogs. So it began that way. And so the first message that I thought Roots and Shoots should take unto itself was every single individual matters. Every single individual has a role to play, and every single individual makes a difference every day. And so Roots and Shoots from the start was about rolling up your sleeves and getting down to work to try and put things right. It was about sitting in your group, because they all got groups in their 8 different schools, and talking about the problems that different people worried about and discussing between you what could be done about them, whether it was some sensible problem that you could impact or whether maybe you should try something else. And the problems that we faced in those early days, well, one of the very first projects was a beach cleanup. And in those days in Tanzania, there was no volunteerism. It just wasn't there. And so this early group, everybody laughed at them and said, but why are you doing this? And you're not getting paid. You must be stupid. Because the only voluntary work that was done was for parents, because you had to. So really volunteerism was born, and they got over these problems by not giving up, by carrying on, and then began going into primary schools, and the younger kids looked up to them. So gradually it began to grow.
Thank you so much, Jane. And now we're going to hear a little bit. We have a video of some participants in Roots and Shoots talking about to be part of Roots and Shoots in the beginning.
I feel so lucky and I feel so God-landed being involved with the Roots and Shoots program since early beginning till today, and I'm still so much involved, and I hope if I'll survive, I'll be involved till the end of my life. And it's just because the program has so much offered to me in terms of the leadership and in terms of how should I live with my community and how should I understand the challenges and the issues and the problems around, and how I can be part of the solution of the problems to my community, to the environment, and even personal to my lifestyle. If I could combine the values of Roots and Shoots program and the philosophy and how much has helped me to solve different problems that I've been involved with, I could just pick one story of how I became a winner as the only Tanzanian from, as the only member from Tanzania to be part of the Antarctica expedition with the leadership and climate change force. Actually, before to get the visa, I was supposed to have 41 days to process that, and unfortunately, I received my appointment 20 days before the travel. Then I had to go to Nairobi without appointment, without any ID number to get for visa. Hence, I get the courage to walk into the Argentina embassy, very hopeful with enough confidence that I gained from the Roots and Shoots program that if you have a problem, rather than starting blaming people, you better come up front, express the problem, and share the solution and the way forward. So this is what I did, and I went up straight to the embassy, showed up my concern, very bold, and I was stopped by the gate, not get in, but I took so much time with the courage, with the persistence, and expressed that deeply, why should I go and what will be the benefit to myself and to my program and to my country. And then eventually I got a chance to be listened by the top of the head of the embassy, and I was granted a visa in just a single day and had to travel to Antarctica. So that to me was like a very unique thing, being able to do that, and nothing else that I used. It was only just the philosophy of Roots and Shoots and the program and the values and the courage that I've learned throughout my life being as a Roots and Shoots member, and again back to be up as a Roots and Shoots leader.
Hi, this is Zhang from China. I am grateful to join Roots and Shoots 21 years ago. Every single day, I get to witness young people all around the world to find creative ways to help the environment and the community. I am so proud of them.
Next question, Dr. Jane. And you can't see my camera now. Hopefully that improved the connection and you can hear me more clearly. Good, I can see Jane nodding. Dr. Jane, we often hear how unique, good. We often hear how unique the name Roots and Shoots is. The name Roots and Shoots really is significant as to why we call the program as it is. Could you share with us the story behind the name, please?
Yes, we wondered for a long time what we were going to call this new program that we'd started. For a long time, it was Jane Goodall's Young Naturalist, but that didn't seem right. And in the back of my mind was always this Roots and Shoots, and people kind of laughed and said, that's silly, but think of a big tree, and it begins to grow from a little tiny seed. And when it starts to grow, you can hold it like this in your finger and thumb, and it seems so weak, that little tiny shoot coming up and little tiny roots going down. But you know, weak though it seems, there is such a magic, a life force, so powerful that those little roots to reach the water can work through rocks and eventually push them aside. And that little shoot to reach the sunlight can work through cracks in a brick wall and eventually knock it down. So we see the problems that we've inflicted on this planet, environmental and social, as the rocks and the walls. The message is hope. Hundreds and thousands of young people, Roots and Shoots, around the world can break through and make this a better world.
Yes, indeed. And now, as a kind of bringing us from the future into now, we're going to see a video from our newest office. Roots and Shoots Turkey was just celebrating its launch last week. And now we're going to hear from Roots and Shoots Turkey.
Of course, there were some barriers. It wasn't always easy. When I first started, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to start. There were so many things to do. But what I learned from Roots and Shoots is that the most important thing is to start. The most important thing is to take an action. So we did it. And now, on the 11th of February, Roots and Shoots Turkey, the newest chapter of Roots and Shoots family, is established. And we're very happy to be part of this family.
So there you have it from Aslihan. We're so excited to have them as part of the family too. So, Dr. Jane, there are thousands of Roots and Shoots groups across the world right now, each group bringing their unique talents to solve different problems facing their own communities, their local environments, and sometimes even their whole countries. So, could you share with us how these people inspire you and what messages you have for them?
What inspires me about all these groups is that when young people know what the problems are, and when we actually listen to them, listen to what bothers them, and then we empower them to take action, their energy, their commitment, their hands-on attitude towards these problems is very, very inspiring. And I think one of the things that's really impressed me as Roots and Shoots has grown is that sometimes there are setbacks. And I go back briefly to that first group clearing up litter from the beaches. And there were no litter bins. So although they put the trash, they'd made some temporary bin that they put there. They brought a rubbish bin, plastic, I think. But it was knocked over and all the trash was spread again. But they didn't give up, and they persuaded the big hotels along the beach to put in concrete trash bins. And so that's the attitude of Roots and Shoots. You don't give up. If it at first doesn't succeed, try and try again. I was brought up with that, and that's become a Roots and Shoots, modus operandi.
Yes, indeed. And now we're going to hear again from some of our participants, from some coordinators, about how being a part of Roots and Shoots empowers them and gives them hope watching the young people that they've been involved with.
I guess Roots and Shoots helped me feel empowered through just my day-to-day contact with children and teachers. Seeing them so involved and engaged and wanting to make a change really inspires me and empowers me. And at the same time, when I speak to them, I hope that I can dispense some of that, or at least reciprocate some of that energy that they have given me. And also, because I get to see Jane every other year, carry some of her messages to those who were not able to meet her in person, and pass along, all her stories and her inspiring speeches and everything about her. So I hope that I can do that for the children and teachers in China.
Hello, my name is Izzy, and I've been working part-time at Roots and Shoots Beijing for just over a year now. I've met so many brilliant people through my time with Roots and Shoots, and it's honestly given me a lot of hope for the future. The younger generation really seem to care about the world, and it's so wonderful to hear so many of them sounding so passionate about making a difference. Something I've learned from being part of Roots and Shoots is the importance of helping people in local communities as well as animals and the environment, because the three are so interconnected and so dependent on each other. The world is in a crisis, and there's no doubt that that can make people panic. But Roots and Shoots really helps us to remember that there is hope for the future, and that through working together on a local level, we can and we have created a global movement for change led by young people, which I think is really, really exciting. So thank you to Dr. Jane and to everyone who is part of Roots and Shoots all over the world for all that you do.
We wanted to ask Dr. Jane about, another point we wanted to ask Dr. Jane about is the Roots and Shoots being youth-led and youth-driven. Could you share with us why empowering young people is so important and how it helps children around the world to see the bigger picture?
I think, you know, as I said before, that if young people can choose a project and work on that project and encourage others to join them, the big thing is that they see a difference. So there have been so many young people that I first met who'd lost hope because, you know, you look around at the world and see how we've harmed the environment and our cruelty and so on. And if you look at the whole big picture, you get depressed. So this saying that I hear all the time, think globally, act locally, no. Do it the other way around. Act locally. See that you and your friends are making a difference. Know that other groups like you, not only Roots and Shoots, are doing the same in different parts of the world. And then the young people dare to think globally because they see that all these different people doing their little bit is gradually making a difference because we are interconnected. And so that's why I think that the young people get inspired. And it's very important because young people are actually changing the attitudes, the mindset of their parents very often. And sometimes their parents are in high places. They're CEOs of big companies, they're in government. And changing like that is something that's really, really important. So it's the whole picture that's put together is very inspiring for, I think, for all of us.
Yes, indeed. And I can think of stories that you and I have both encountered where young people have told us that they've gone home and told their parents that they should do things differently, and their parents listen to them. So now I think we're going to see another video. We're going to hear from some really long-term colleagues of ours who have been involved for many years, and then one young person in China who was involved in Roots and Shoots many years ago and has carried on in her career using the inspiration of Roots and Shoots. So another video, please.
People talk about the habitat distractions. Is it a problem? But what is the solution? And what can we do as young people? So the philosophy is actually bringing the young people into a problem matrix. So they think on the horizons of their positions of solving, using the opportunity of being part of Roots and Shoots. The knowledge as an idea, as the light they have toward their pathways. So through the knowledge they get, and then the unifications, the desire to work together. So it gives them the chance for them to generate ideas on how they could be able to discuss the issues and also be part of the solutions.
As a Roots and Shoots leader for almost 20 years, my students and I have been involved in some amazing service learning projects. And each project has been unique in its own special way. But the steps that we followed to accomplish a project were often very similar. For example, we always first began by exploring issues that the students found engaging in their local community. After discussing many of the ideas, we would then vote on which idea we felt was best for a project and then get to work. For example, our Roots and Shoots group in Chennai, India, decided they wanted to learn how to help protect the olive ridley sea turtles that they were finding dead on some of their beaches. So the next step was for them to become experts about sea turtles. They researched on the internet, they read books, and they also were able to meet with a sea turtle conservationist, Dr. Suprajat Darini, who came and taught them about the problems that sea turtles face and what they might do to be able to help. And they were also very lucky because they were able to visit the Sea Turtle Rescue and Rehabilitation Center and see firsthand some of these rescued turtles and learn their stories. After doing that, they were ready to develop their action plan. And their action plan was actually twofold. One was an awareness campaign to help educate others about the problems sea turtles face and what they could do to help. And the other was to raise some money with a fundraiser to help support the Sea Turtle Foundation. The students then began developing digital presentations, posters, and also deciding what they wanted to make and sell at their fundraiser. I'm happy to say their project was a great success, and they made a lot of money that they donated to the Sea Turtle Foundation, and they also educated so many students at our school. Then at the end of the project, the students reflected about what went well and what they might change next time. And of course, we celebrated with a party because it's always fun at the end of a project to have some kind of celebration.
Hi everyone, I'm Charlene and I'm the founder of My H2O. I was a part of Roots and Shoots in high school when I was actually the president of the Roots and Shoots club at my high school. And I would definitely say that Roots and Shoots signified my entire beginning of the environmentalism track, and that's sort of how I started on this path all the way up until now, where I am actually the founder of another nonprofit that also focuses on working with young people, but this time focusing on water issues across rural China. And I think what Roots and Shoots bring to me, the sense of empowerment, is through working with other young people and watching how the idea of environmentalism affects them. I never really knew this concept until I joined Roots and Shoots, and through that process where I watched how this entire environmentalism ideology changed their behaviors. Like they used to use whatever plastic they want, they used to buy a lot of random stuff, but now they actually start to care about their daily behavior, refusing to use disposable utensils, educating other people about environmental issues. And when I see these little changes in the students that I work with in high school, I start to realize how environmentalism as an idea can be so effective on other young people, and it can affect an entire generation if we really put the work into it.
And there you have Japhet in Tanzania, Barbara, who's run Roots and Shoots in her schools wherever she's gone, world, and Charlene from China, all really such inspirational people. We're going to talk now about the future. As we've seen today, Roots and Shoots has left an amazing imprint on people, animals, and environment over the course of our 30 years. There's so much more to do. So I'd like to ask you, Dr. Jane, what are your goals and hopes looking forwards to, let's say, 2051 and the 60th anniversary of Roots and Shoots?
Well, first of all, by that time, I won't be here to celebrate. I think I'd be 120 or something. So,
you never know.
But I know that Roots and Shoots will not die. It will outlast me. There's no question. I've seen it growing. I've seen the energy growing. And so the world's in a mess right now, environmentally, socially, all kinds of problems everywhere. And so one thing that I find very inspiring about Roots and Shoots, which I think will have really come into its own in by 2050, is the fact that in Roots and Shoots, because we try to bring young people together, we try to bring young people together from different countries as often as possible, usually virtually. And so what they're learning is that far more important than the color of your skin, your culture, your religion, your age, your economic status, far more important than all of those things is the fact that we're all human beings. And I think that as this feeling grows over the next 30 years, it's going to make even more change. I think more and more people will join this program, and we do like to cooperate, collaborate with other groups that have similar philosophy to us. And so in 30 years' time, well, I told you I liked aiming for the stars. So if I aim for the stars, I say we have Roots and Shoots in at least 60% of all the schools all around the world. That probably won't happen, but I also envisage a group of young people who take forward into their lives and then share with those coming up behind the fact that we need to develop a new respect for the natural world and the animals. That's disrespect of animals and the natural world led to this pandemic. And we need a new and greener and more sustainable economy, because it's crazy to think we can have unlimited economic development on a planet with finite natural resources that are already getting used up faster than nature can replenish them in some places. So a generation of young people moving forward, in 30 years' time, they'll be adult with a new respect for nature and a new respect for each other, and understanding that we need money to live, most of us, but it goes wrong when we start living for money, and that we need to develop a new kind of a goal. What is success? Is it just getting more and more money? Is it just getting more and more power? Success should be to lead a good life, a life where you can share what you have with others, raise your family in a decent way. And I think in 30 years' time, we'll be celebrating a very major change.
I share your hope. I certainly do. And I think we've seen over the years, people who've come through the program carry those values on into their careers and their family life as well. So that brings us hope as we look forward to the next 30 years too. And we have one more video to share, which also is also about sharing hope. We have Carissa telling us about how much hope Roots Shoots has brought her.
Hi everyone, my name is Carissa Welton and I am currently in the USA. I'm so hopeful for Roots and Shoots, the Jane Goodall Institute, just for so many reasons. But to start off with, I first met and learned about Roots and Shoots in China, in Beijing, China. So I got to learn a lot about what the JGI Institute was doing in China with young people from all across the country, and also got to get involved and participate with students right there in Beijing, all the way from elementary school ages to university students. So it's really given me a lot of hope for the future, just seeing all the wonderful, intelligent ideas coming from young people all across China, and then connecting that with all the work that's being done around the world. It's just, yeah, how can you not feel hopeful and grateful about that? So thank you so much, Dr. Jane. We love you. And I love you, Roots and Shoots students everywhere. Keep up the good work. Thanks for giving me so much hope.
Now, that was wonderful from Carissa. As we start to wrap up our event today, I want to thank Dr. Jane for this wonderful conversation and, of course, for her ongoing inspiration. And thank you as well to everyone who sent us videos and to all of you making a difference for all of the hard work out there. I think there's a lot more videos that we'll be able to share during the course of this anniversary celebration. So please do feel free to share more. We do have more to come, and there are so many wonderful young people involved in spreading the word. There will be some fantastic ways for Roots and Shoots participants to join campaigns and celebrate the 30th anniversary of Roots and Shoots with us. Starting soon, there'll be a campaign called Growing Together to learn about and take action for forests. Then we'll be looking at youth leadership as a focal point. Then there'll be community voices talking about our relationship with nature. And we'll be building habitat for urban wildlife, wrapping up with the theme of peace around the International Day of Peace in September. So we have all of this, all these campaigns to look forward to, and we invite you to join with us to do all we can together to change the world. Now, I think Dr. Jane has some words that she likes to say about changing the world. So I'm going to go back to you, Dr. Jane, please.
Yes, well, before I do that, I must introduce, he's been patiently waiting, and I think
yes,
75% of Roots and Shoots around the world know Mr. H, and he's in nearly all the pictures, and he would be very upset if he didn't take part in this celebration. He's not been quite 30 years, but a very long time he's been with me. I think it's 28 years. Anyway, and Mr. H illustrates the indomitable human spirit, because the man who gave him to me went blind at 21, decided to become a magician. Children don't know he's blind. And then on top of that, he tells them, you know, something may happen in your life, but if it does, don't give up. There's always a way forward. And he does scuba diving, skydiving, think of it. But he's taught himself to paint. And his paintings are completely amazing. He gave me Mr. H thinking he was giving me a chimpanzee. And I made him hold the tail. I said, Gary, chimps don't have tails. He said, oh, never mind, take him where you go, and you know my spirit's with you. So Mr. H illustrates the indomitable human spirit. And I would say he's been touched and petted by well over 1 million people, probably more like 2 million people over these years. Well, anyway, when I last went to Tanzania, I found that at the end of their gatherings, when we bring them around from around the city, they were saying, together we can change the world. And I said to them, yes, we can. We know how to do it. We know what we have to do. But will we? Will we do it? So then they started at the end of every gathering saying, together we can, together we will. And I began using that when I talked to big audiences around the world, including at Davos, where there were all these corporate heads and some heads of state. And I was talking to this large room at a lunch. And at the end, I said, you know, this is what we do. And Roots and Shoots around the world are joining in. And can you join in too? Would you mean it? Do you believe it? And the first time it was a bit pathetic, you know, together we can, together we will. I said, oh, come on. Kids do much better than that. Don't you mean it? And so we did it again. And the whole room, there were about 200 people in it. They all stood up and with great enthusiasm, together we can, together we will. And so to me, that is a very stirring message. We can do it if we will. Yes, we will do it.
And now we're going to wrap up hearing those wonderful words from some of our Roots and Shoots participants.
Yes, we can. Yes, we will.
Yes, we can. Yes, we will.
Yes, we can. Yes, we will.
Kwa pamoja tunaweza. Yes, we can. Yes, we will. Yes, we can. Yes, we will.
Masihlangene singakhona, masibambisene siyanqoba.
Mmogo re a khona, mmogo re tla fela.
Together we can, together we will.
Together we can. Together we will.
Together we can, together we will.
Together we can. Together we will.
Together we can, together we will.
Together we can. Together we will.
Together we can and together we will.
Together we can, together we will.
Together we can. Together we will.
Together we can, 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 together we will.
Together we can. Together we will.
Together we can, together we will.
Together we can. Together we will. Together we will. Together we can. Juntos podemos. Juntos podremos.
Juntos podemos, juntos lo conseguiremos.
Juntos podemos, juntos lo conseguiremos.
Together we can, together we will.
Samen kunnen we het en samen doen we het. Samen kunnen we het, samen doen we het.
Together we can, together we will.
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 Together we can.
Together we will.
Together we can, 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 together we will.
Together we can.
And together we will.